Ford Dale was your 2012 MX2 champion at the MX Nationals, and Ford Dale was a standout junior rider coming into the pros with a lot of hype, and he delivered early, riding for many factory teams on his way to that 2012 Pro Championship. But that was a solo title for Ford Dale, troubled with injuries, troubled with a lack of structure and things in his program that held him back. Ford would eventually go on to start a family young and retire from the sport all the way back in 2015. And after disappearing for a while, Ford would return in the role that we have known him now for the past decade in Ford Dale Elite. He is the coach to many of the elite motocross and supercross riders across ProMX and the Australian Supercross Championship. And not only that, but he's also a test rider for us here at Inside Dirt. So you're going to get to know Ford Dale here on the podcast and listen to his story. Ford Dale, welcome, my man.
Thank you.
Yeah, local.
Not far, just a short trek up the road, hey.
It is, man. One of the odd times of the week you're actually home.
Yeah.
It's hard to get your schedule of being out at the tracks. And
yeah, it is. Hey, Wednesday's usually prep day, so can kind of tweak that a little bit, which is good.
Yeah, dude. We'll get into all that. Want to talk about, Ford Dale Elite, your coaching program, that growing.
Yep.
It's really awesome to see. But yeah, man, obviously a day off today. Are you doing track prep? What are you doing?
Day off today, so got to organise a few things for the rest of the week. But usually a track prep day. So
obviously we're recording this mid-September, so Supercross preseason is in full swing.
Yeah, full swing, and then obviously Queensland weather starting to dry out, get windy. Yeah. So just becomes a mammoth task.
It's cool, man. Like, it's really crazy, and I know we've talked about this before, but it's like, I don't know if it was Coolum being here back in the day. Obviously, that's gone now.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Coolum. I hate it.
Such a shame, hey.
Been out there at all? Have you seen it?
I haven't stepped foot out there since we left there.
My kids go to the skate park up the road from there.
Okay.
And you literally drive past it in the industrial estate to get to the skate park.
Yeah.
And the other day I drove on the way out and I stopped at the gate and I was just like, I wish I hadn't done that.
Massive loss to the moto world here.
It really is. But I guess I don't know how we all ended up here at different times, but it's like yourself, I don't know, you and Gibbsy are super tight.
Yeah.
And Dean's here and we're here. I'm here now. And there's so many other, it's just this little pocket now.
Yeah, a little hub, hey.
It really is. I feel like it's almost like Victoria back in the day now.
It's always been that on the sunny coast. Even from a youngster when I was growing up, you had heaps of options for riding. It was a lot of sand stuff. So Coolum, obviously a club, but even just private tracks.
Yeah.
Roy's Road, the track just in the middle of nowhere that you shouldn't be riding. There was a lot of that on the coast.
It was like Joel Evans, rest in peace. Like he's up here now.
Yep.
Dan McCoy. I'm just thinking of all the guys.
Yeah, I think it's the lifestyle though. Just
moto
balance.
Dudes are used to that, right? Freedom.
Definitely, aren't they? So see that every day. But just that balanced life of train, work, then beach, surf. Good climate. We don't really get a winter, so you can continue to train through that period pretty easily.
We definitely get a summer, but
we definitely, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't envy you trying to keep Supercross tracks because like that light switch now, like the air temperature I feel has gone up like 10 degrees in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it just happens one random day.
Doesn't it? All of a sudden you step out, you're like, there it is. Like all of a sudden you're wearing a t-shirt. It's like, probably don't need this on anymore. And it's not even summer yet.
Yeah, that battle starts then. So
yeah, the white boy in me just gets sunburnt every day.
Yeah, and then you obviously get through soupy season, through Christmas, and then the preseason for moto is just brutal.
Cool.
Yeah.
The boys are in shape because it's hot.
Yeah. I have I've got a thought about that. It's obviously there's a massive benefit with that training in that sort of conditions, but also just the load that they can do is less. It's just too brutal on them. The quality, I find the quality isn't there. The work ethic and the grind is there, but the quality of it.
You just burn them out if you go too hard, right?
Yeah. And then it obviously starts cooling down, and I can see within the group, obviously been doing this for a lot of years now, the difference in attitudes and also the load that they can give and the quality of it once it starts cooling down. So it's an interesting period, that first few months of the year where you got to kind of manage it right.
I guess it's opposite to the rest of the world, right? Because like you say, California or Florida, their preseason for Supercross or even motocross is still spring, and Supercross is winter, so it's perfect. MXGP, I guess it's the complete opposite problem where you're doing your preseason in the snow and rain and cold.
Yep.
But then, the preseason here, they come off of the off season, the holidays.
Yes.
And they come into the hottest time of the year with humidity. And I guess like Victoria's climate sucks for the most part. But I remember living down there, and if you're not afraid to ride the mud a little bit, it's actually probably the best climate for riding.
For sure, especially that preseason period.
Yeah.
You know, it's hot, but it's nothing like here. It's
like the preseason camps we used to do, like you just get the water trucks, you'd get it ahead of the prep.
Yeah.
And it would dry out, but you know.
Yeah, whereas here you're not even staying on top of it, you know.
It's just done.
You can prep all night, water all night, and still it's going to bake out. And
I see that with all the soupy videos already. It's just blue groove.
Yeah, and we start those mornings with mud. Yeah. Like it's we have to start the day where the boys are riding in something where they're like, it's too wet today.
Tiptoeing around.
And if not, you end up with it by 10 o'clock. It's just absolutely brutal. And
the problem is the jumps start crumbling, the whoops destroy. Like it's more
high risk. Yeah,
it is high risk, especially when you're spending all that money on track builds.
For sure. And I'm not a fan of midday watering with soupy. I just think it's risky, especially with the soil. I got that off BT when he did a Supercross season here with me, and he was like, we're never watering during the day. I think he had an accident when he was on Pro Circuit Cowie where they midday watered and he lost traction. So I'm not a fan of it either, especially the way the tracks bake out. You put a little bit of water on it, it's just ice. So.
Especially on the test tracks, right? Because it's like, a race track, you use the whole track.
You do.
But because it's a training track or test track, it's a tile wide line, and that gets so muscle memory cut in.
It does.
That if there's any change, it's gnarly, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
But it's cool. We'll talk more about that. But obviously, before we get into more of your stuff, you just got back from Appen. You went to New South Wales for us for the 26 Yamaha YZ450F launch. Did we say Z or Z in Australia? What was it?
YZ, I say.
You say Z. I'm a mongrel. I say everything, so I don't know what I am. But Z. All right, YZ450F. So it was cool. I've talked to you about doing test stuff before, and obviously your resume, your ability on a bike. I was like, man, this would be cool. Yeah. And it worked out that we could get you there. How was that experience?
I loved it. Yeah, it was such a rad opportunity. So thank you.
Oh, good, man.
Cool to do something different. Obviously spent a lot of time at the track over the last few years, or over my entire lifetime, but specifically the last few years, and not riding. So just standing around watching other guys and doing that side of things. So to be able to break it up and do something different was really cool, which is why I jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's cool, man. Like the average listener is not in the industry, like whether it's Yamaha or whatever manufacturer, when they do these launches, they fly the media in, they put them up in hotels, they do the launch night the night before, where they have the R&D of the bike and the specs, they do a presentation. Yamaha does it really well, where they involve the CDO Yamaha Monster Energy team and Jed and Tanny and Dak and that were there, and it's cool, man. It's not just come ride the bike and go home.
Yeah.
Like it's an experience, right?
Definitely. I think that was the best thing about it as well, just how much effort and logistics were put into it all. So just from the whole event, obviously, like you said, flying in, the presentation on the night before, breaking down the bike, going through everything, giving us the rundown on how it works, having CDR there to back that up, and then the next day showing up, prepped, freshly groomed track.
Did you get flashbacks of being a factory racer again?
Yeah, it was like that, actually. It's probably better, to be honest. Yeah,
no pressure, right?
That's right. Just go out and have a bit of fun, throw the thing around a little bit, get some photos. And
so how was the bike? What'd you think?
Really good. So obviously I've ridden a lot of good bikes in my career.
Do you still jump on the boys' bikes? From
time to time, I've done it with Gibbsies a little bit.
I bet, because I just thought of that then, but I'm like, surely if they're like, you can ride at that level where if they're like, oh, I don't know if my rebound is this or if my suspension's that, you could probably jump on and offer them pretty good insight, right?
Not this year or not the last 2 years, but previously to that, Gibbsy and I did a bit of testing together. So I jump on and do some stuff with his bike when he was riding Honda, and then when he first got on Kato, we did a couple of days out there. So due to time constraints, I guess that probably doesn't happen as much as I'd like it to anymore, but I was only thinking the other day it'd be such a rad thing to get more involved in again.
Testing's fun, dude. I love it.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to Jay Wilson this morning, and I said to him, I'd like to go down that path because a lot of these young guys don't actually know how to test.
Bro, I don't know if it's the new generation of bike or culturally, maybe it's our era where you had to be a bit more self-reliant. I don't know, but I do feel like I haven't coached for a long time now, and sorry to cut you off, but like I distinctly remember kids, young seniors when I was coaching, and I would purposefully be like, hey, we're going 2 clicks, bud.
Yeah.
Go back and not change anything. Go out, tell me how it feels. Oh, it feels great. Oh, it sucks. Well, I actually didn't change anything. Yeah. So like trying to get them to feel their bikes, right?
Definitely, yeah, to get some awareness of what the changes are. So yeah, definitely the younger guys, it's more evident in them that they don't know what they're doing. I think it is due to the generation. It's with everything, obviously, it's such a just drop it off, pick it up.
Everyone's got a suspension guy now. Everyone's got a motor guy now, right?
And they're not doing anything themselves. They're dropping, even if it's maintenance on their bikes, the bare minimum gets done by the boys. But anything like substantial just gets dropped off and sorted and dropped back the next day, and they're back on a fresh bike.
And then I guess to ride a stocker, you haven't ridden a stocker probably for a while.
No.
So that's always experience.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously jumped on the bike, and my first thoughts were, I just want to ride this bike as it is and get a feel of what sort of base it's got, because I haven't ridden a stock bike for a long, long time. So just to and I was obviously going into it with a different mindset than a lot of the other guys that were there, just due to my experience racing and that sort of stuff and what I've ridden. I just wanted to ride the bike as it was and get a feel for what base it had as a starting point for if I was going to start building that bike up into a race bike. So,
yeah, okay.
And I was impressed with it, really impressed.
So did you just do sag and stuff before you went out?
Didn't do that. Just rode straight out. Yeah. Just rode straight out and just got a feel with what the bike was doing, how it felt, where it stuck to the ground, where it didn't, the torque of it, where to use the right gears, that sort of stuff, and just had a bit of a warm up first to get the feel of that before I started changing anything.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I'm the same when I get a new bike. I don't even bother doing sag or anything because they're so rigid when they're new anyway.
Yeah.
But like, the characteristics of the Yami, like obviously the last time I rode a Yami was at this launch in 2019.
Yeah, okay.
When they had the new gen, or it was like the 0.5 of the current model, they do like the mid-generation updates.
Yep.
And like the bike's been refined a lot since then, but it's still the power on the Yami is so refined, and it punches, but just such a strong engine.
Yeah, that 450's been strong since 2008, 2009. Since what year was it they went to? Was it 2010 they went to the new airbox?
209 was the last of the old gen.
So 2010 was riding for Circo, and they gave us 450s to train on.
Yeah, right.
And that was straight away like, wow, these things are fast. And I've considered them the bike that has the best power since that moment, really.
That motor was wild. I remember jumping on one, and it sounded, at the time, it was so different to what you were used to. Hey,
well, where the
noise came
intake,
from.
So and just getting comfortable with that. And then now it's just rule of thumb that if you get on a Yamaha, it's got that. So it's kind of.
I think everyone's used to it now, right? And I think there's been a bit of a split in like the manufacturer model as far as motors.
Yes.
And it's like you got the Austrian brands that have their unique sound. I feel like the Triumph is more in that family. And then Cowie and Honda have their own, in my opinion, characteristics.
Yeah.
Where the frame rail, the chassis, and even the sound and the linear feel of the motors is very similar.
Yeah.
Where they're not as fast as the Yamis or the Austrian bikes. They don't punch like that.
Yep.
But that connection to the rear wheel is very light switch.
Yeah.
Very like linear. But then the Yami has its like own whole deal going on with the power punch, the RPMs, the sound. Like it's its own deal.
Yeah, it is. It has so much torque. So that was the biggest positive from my end. I ride the bike really tall in the gears, so third, fourth gear. And what I was looking for was to see if it pulled it. You know, you get on a stock bike a lot of the time, even 450s, and you try and lug the bike around, and it doesn't have the torque to pull that.
You're short shifting everywhere, and
I've seen that in some of the riders I help over the last few years, even with their factory bikes, where it's one of the points that they struggle with is that torque to lug the 450 around. So
that's hard, right? Because I agree, even back when I was racing privateer, like you're going back 10, 15 years, but it's like as soon as the EFIs came in, I remember motors we'd built were, you know, high comp pistons, aftermarket clutches, ignitions, then it's punchy and you get tired. But then if you want to run it more stock, I'd end up going up on the gearing so it would pull third.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it felt like the chain was always tight because you're revving it more and then it's deflecting off everything.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're like, it's so hard on a 450 just to find a motor setting that doesn't affect the suspension, right?
Yeah. Well, you want a bike. Well, I want a bike that will lug the gear but still pull and carry momentum. You know, so you can run third, even fourth. I was using fourth gear in a lot of turns at
so it would pull that in it would still stock form.
Yeah,
right.
So and obviously the benefit to that is the way the bike handles. It tracks the ground better. You know, it's not over revving and deflecting off things. So that was the biggest thing that I went for straight away was, okay, will this pull third, fourth in stock form? And it did. So the torque and how the bike pulled was one of the most positives for me.
I mean, Ferris has talked about that in here, where he's like, I won that 23 championship on a stock motor.
Yeah.
Literally stock pipe, stock motor.
Definitely, yeah. I think the engine is definitely capable of that. And a lot of guys like all over the world will race with stock stuff. It's BT used to ride with stock engines and stuff a lot of the time. So it's really just how you use the bike and use that power, as opposed to like say Toddy Waters or even Cloudy. They're really explosive with the way they ride and they accelerate. So they need that power there.
I can only imagine what Cloudy's bike would be like as far as the punch on it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it, doesn't it?
It does. So, it throws him back, but he's so stocky and he's short but strong.
Yeah,
and his technique is unorthodox, but it works for the way he rides.
Yeah. He hangs on with his arms a lot, but to ride the way he does, you'd have to be extremely strong. And exactly, Like, and it's not I speak about this with the boys every now, like often, is like strong in the gym and strong on the bike are two completely different things. You know, you can be an ox in the gym and just weak as
it doesn't mean anything on a bike.
So yeah.
What so you rode Jed's Beaton's race bike too, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that I found really interesting when I did that launch back in the day. It was Gibbsy's race bike when I did it.
Yeah.
Comparisons to the stock bike versus the race bike?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, you can tell it's built off that baseline though. So that was when I got on the stock bike. I wanted to feel what the base was, and you can see they've worked off that base, which is a really, really good bike, and then just built 1% at a time to the point where they've got this amazing race bike. Visually at the Nationals this year, Jed's bike is by far the best for me.
It works so well for him.
Yeah, the power it has, the way it tracks the ground, the maneuverability of the bike, the geometry of it obviously work. And they've definitely changed things to make that better.
Is it rigid? Like I remember jumping on Gibbsy's race bike compared to this, and like I said, a new stock bike is rigid no matter what manufacturer.
Yeah.
But then I remember jumping on Gibbsy's race bike and being like, this thing doesn't even, like it felt like a supercross setting outdoors.
Yeah, and Jed's felt the same. It
was rigid.
Because I've ridden bikes like that, so I know what I want as well. Yeah. I knew the harder I pushed it, the better it was going to get, and it did. A lot of guys did ride Jed's bike and thought it was too stiff. I rode it and thought it felt amazing. So
those bikes only work if you're at full speed.
Yeah, you're pushing, you're braking hard, you're heavy on the brakes. You know, the rigidity or the rigid feeling, the harder you work it, the softer it feels. So, yes. And that's where if you're not riding it to its capabilities, you'll get a lot of feedback through your hands, a lot of feedback through the rear of the bike, a lot of, I guess the first thing they say is harsh and stiff.
Yes.
You push through that and you get that plush, nice feeling, but you've got to have the speed to get there.
Yeah, 100%. I think the media, obviously, a lot of those riders are not ex-pro guys.
No.
So then it just feels like a rigid 2x4s in the forks kind of deal, right?
But even as a former pro, you fight with that the whole time. You want a bike that holds up, but then you get that stiff feedback. So all you're ever looking for is something that holds up, but it feels like a lounge chair, like through your hand.
The vet rider dilemma, right?
Well, it's even a pro, because
yeah.
even Gibbsy, I know even the professional riders that I help, and even when I was, that's what you're looking for. You want something that's going to handle you pushing it to its limit, but you don't want to feel anything. You just want to feel nice, because then all you focus on is just riding the thing. And that's the catch-22 with setting up a bike and what makes a good bike and a not so good bike is whether you can get it to do that. Otherwise you battle the bike.
Well, yeah, you are compensating for whatever the bike isn't giving you, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you're right. You need it to hold up.
Yeah.
But yeah, not feel aggressive or harsh in the process. And I guess, yeah, for anyone listening, it's like listening to this conversation, it's hard to convey that to someone that's trying to learn about testing, right? Where it's like, typically I would always as a coach say, well, if you've got new settings, new bike, you're feeling stiff, you're not flowing, you got to open the bike up, speed it up, soften it.
Yeah.
Lots of feedback. Not great for speed, but it's going to give you a form of control and comfort. And then as you start going faster, you can start to tighten up, to a degree. And you see all the time as a coach, I'm sure, I used to see it all the time, guys ride the same 2 tracks each week. They go testing at those tracks, right? And the thing is in all the way, stiff, on rails, take it to the racetrack, it doesn't work.
Well, they learn to ride around the track that they're practicing on all the time. The bumps where they are, they learn to counteract that sort of stuff with their body. So the suspension obviously gives that perception that it feels better than it actually is. I think that's the biggest one.
It is, right? So then it's that, and it's a never-ending battle of taking that setting from the test track and making it. You see it. We'll see it at Redcliffe in a few weeks, right?
Oh yeah, and a 450 is just a different beast than a 250. Once you hit that level, you can ride a 250 fast, and it's a little bike.
You can compensate for it.
Yeah. You get on a 450, and the feeling on the bike it comes down to all that matters. And I know it from personal experience. I know it from watching the guys during the week. It's the only thing that gets spoken about is getting a bike that feels good enough for them to ride to their capabilities. And that's where if they align, where you can, your ability on a bike match what the bike's capable of, then that's when you see these guys on these amazing bikes that dominate.
Well, I think it's also these modern era 450s, the window for them to go that speed is a lot smaller, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you look at Prado and what's going on in America, like the whole world's commenting on it. We don't need to talk about it. But like regardless, he isn't in that window consistently where he feels he can go that speed.
That's right. Yeah. And he's still doing the work, no doubt. Been there and seen it and done it and watched, and you see it in Prado. There's no way he's sitting on the couch during the week. The guy's going on the track and he's grinding. But that's what it is when you're riding a bike that you don't like. Yeah. It's just a grind. You're still ticking the boxes, but you're battling every day.
I've seen that with you in your career, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get into that, but I distinctly remember looking at you one year, trying to remember what year it was. We'll get to it. Yeah. But all right, so to finish up the Yamaha deal, obviously you spent the day on it. So it's like for you, okay, Ford, you've got a bike to ride.
Yeah.
Hypothetically. Like what do you do to that bike from stock trim?
Yeah.
To be like, I'm going to go have this and ride it once a week. Like what happens from there?
Because the biggest thing is it had such a good base. So I wouldn't go reinvent the wheel. I'd start off with small things. Yamaha have this cool little new thing where you can adjust the ECU and stuff.
Yeah. Did you do anything with that?
I didn't play with it too much. Some of the mechanics had a little go at it with me.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other guys are playing with that a fair bit. And everybody was super positive about it, which is cool. I think just even as a consumer side of things, it's pretty positive for the vets that are buying a bike just to ride on a weekend.
Yeah, to have your own ECU that's tunable on your phone.
Yeah. But other than that, just sag, different fork heights, that sort of stuff. I was just looking for, after I rode the bike and really, really liked the torque and how the engine package was, then just started looking, changing things geometry-wise, just where I can get it to stick to ground better, where I can get it to turn. If I lost feel here, what could I change to do that? And obviously, just due to experience, I will move my body around a lot to counteract that stuff. But the bike was really receptacle to those small little changes, and it definitely worked. So.
They still have the forward rear bar mount settings, or is that gone now?
Yeah, they still do.
Yeah, did you play with that?
No, I didn't.
I remember when we did the 19 launch, Townley was just, like, he went out, like you said, just rode it, and then he came back in, and because it's BT, like, Brad and all the CDR guys back then were just, what do you want to try? What do you want to try? And like he was changing front to rear, and and I said to him, I was like, this, anyway, I went out and rode his bike after he'd spent some time, and immediately I was like, wow, this thing feels so different.
And you've got to, because it's changing where your weight is positioned on the bike. That's the biggest thing. It's like an example of that would be cutting your subframe down so it's 10 mil lower at the back. It does nothing to the bike sitting there. It does nothing at all to the way the bike would work, but it changes your weight, where your weight would be on the bike. So
massively.
Then you hear guys say that, and they're like, oh, I've cut the subframe down 10 mil. And you're like, well, it's not going to, it doesn't do anything, but it does to where you sit on the bike and where you position yourself, which changes how the bike reacts to things, how it tracks the ground. So same with the handlebars and the mounts, forward, back, where your weight is sitting on the bike to get that comfort with it could be anything to do with more feel with the front tire when you're going through turns, to too much weight on the front wheel, so you wash and you push the front everywhere. So there's just that fine tuning, those little things.
You explain it really well, man. You should get into test riding.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, no, thanks to Yamaha for having you out, and that was, I actually wanted to go myself to that one.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, as much as you were my first choice, it was me that was my first choice. Yeah, but I honestly, with work right now in the business, we're so busy. But then also, I haven't ridden in over a year.
Yeah.
So I was like, probably system Ford.
That's one thing I'm grateful for. I rarely ride now, but I can still always get on a bike and just, I guess you never lose that like little bit of an edge. Obviously, fitness wise, like I can't go out and punch a 30-minute moto as hard as I can. I can go out and do a 30-minute moto, no dramas, but you always have that feel, which I'm grateful for every time I get on a bike, whether it's once every 6 months or once a month. I can generate that pretty quickly, which is cool.
You never lose it. I mean, I'd have been fine at that launch, go ride, but it's more just you definitely don't have your timing. Yeah, you don't feel comfortable. Yeah, but. Yeah, it's
so true. The biggest thing I struggle with is speed perception.
Yeah, man.
So
as you get older too,
when I haven't ridden for a while, my natural ability will go faster than what my brain is used to, and there's been days where I've gone riding when I haven't ridden for a while, and I go out and just start pushing just naturally, and I will get motion sickness from that just because I'm not used to it.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever had motion sickness, but I will say the strain on your adrenals and your nervous system, like when you haven't ridden, I'm 38 actually as of last week, right? Yeah. It's like I'm close to 40, which is mind-blowing to think.
Me too, don't worry.
Bro, but like I don't feel 40. Like Adam's like 80. What are you? But like he doesn't look that old either. But just joking, guys. Adam's not 80. I'm noticing the older I'm getting. Typically I ride like every 18 months. I'm like, I'm gonna get a bike, and I'll ride. Yep. And that first ride or two back, as I'm getting older, I'm like fried. Like, as in I need to go home and sleep. Yeah. Because my nervous system's just trying to keep up with the muscle memory and the G-forces, and I'm sure you say motion sickness, right? It affects everybody differently. But like the next day I feel like I'm sore. My calves and my knees and every bone I've ever broken is sore. Yep. But you're just fried, man.
Yeah. Like for me, it's not body. My body on the bike is fine. I don't really, but mentally, it does. It cooks you. Yeah.
Like you said, I guess you're used to ride, because I do feel obviously it's muscle memory. You're the same as any of us that have ridden since we were kids. It's ingrained in your nervous system to know what to do. Yeah. But your brain has to readjust to braking points and depth perception. And I did that last year. It really bummed me out actually, where I was like, I got a bike and I rode it like MX Farm for like probably 6 weeks out of 2 months. Like I just went out there every Sunday sort of thing. Yeah. And it took me so long to get like my sea legs back under me, I guess you call it. Like, and I finally didn't have arm pump. I could wake up the next day and not feel completely smoked, and I was getting going again. Yeah. And I was like, where to now? Like,
Yeah.
am I going to keep going? Do I want to get faster? Do I want to put, and it kind of disheartened me actually. Cause I was like, kind of,
You need purpose, hey?
yeah, I didn't have, and it was like,
Yeah.
you know, some of your crew would be out there or a lot of the local pros
Yeah.
and just, I think the transition of like when you're an ex-pro rider, like at the beginning, the juniors and the MX3 kids, you can hang with them.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going back 3 generations when I stopped racing, but you can hang with them. And then it's like, yeah, they're faster, but it's not that much faster.
Yeah.
But now I'm so far removed from any form of being able to go fast that you're like, these kids just boom, blow your doors off, you know, and you're like, this is depressing.
Yeah, I find that too. It's why I don't ride a whole lot, is it did it for purpose for so long, and then now just doing it. I love moto, absolutely love it. That's why I'm a part of it. But to get up and go ride every day, I wouldn't have the want to do that unless I had a reason to do that. So,
dude, I'm so grateful you're saying that.
Yeah,
because my missus will say to me like, why don't you just go do it for fun? I'm like,
well, fun is the result of the
purpose and the work. Yeah. So, once you're wired that way.
That's right. Yeah, I've done it for so long like that. So for me, something enjoyable riding wouldn't be going to a track. You know, it'd be just going for a ride up the beach with a bunch of mates and doing some trails and that sort of stuff. I enjoy that side of things. But to go out, say, to the track and just start grinding for no purpose, I couldn't do it. And I see that with good friends of mine that are ex-pros and that sort of stuff as well. Everybody's on the same boat. There's novelty days where you'll go out and ride, and you go to a vintage day or you go to obviously a test day, but to do it without purpose. So that's why I'm interested in the testing side of stuff, because it
gives you a reason,
that purpose, which is something you can really focus on and fine tune. Then that would bring the enjoyment back for me.
Really glad you framed that. I'm normally good at framing stuff, but that's framed it in a way that I've never fully, because I've always been like, all right, I'm going to get a bike this year.
Yeah.
I'll go race vets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And why? Well, I need a reason to ride.
Yeah. Well, right? I get so many people asking me, like even my parents, dad, how come you not like go ride? Like keep finger on the pulse, like just go do it. And it's like, well, if I'm going to go ride, I'm going to go back racing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to, not just doing it. And obviously my desire to do that isn't there. So I don't.
That's really good, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you, actually. That's helped me understand myself a little bit better. Talking about mum and dad, so let's segue into that. So you're, from North Queensland, right?
Yeah, Rocky, born and bred. Yeah.
Represent.
Yeah. Which was such a mad place to grow up riding.
Yeah, it would have been
especially
great.
In the 90s, I guess. It was.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Yep.
So back then, obviously, just clubs.
I wonder if we ever raced each other as kids.
Possibly, yeah. I raced from 4 years old.
Yeah. Did you ever come? Like, I only lived here for a kid as a little bit.
Yep.
For a year in 2000.
Okay.
And we lived in Melbourne.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then my family moved back to the UK, so I was here for a year. But it was like Mosig, Monya, Carafa, Keisha.
The only race I would have did in 2000 that could have
crossed over
would have been Junior Nationals 2000 was Oakdale.
Yeah, we didn't go that.
No,
so we literally moved back just before.
Yeah, the only southern state race I would have done would have been Junior Nationals.
Yeah,
and some Supercross stuff too.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because we started racing Supercross at 12 and following the national circuit. So.
Yeah,
and there was obviously Mosik's a year younger than Mosik, Harry, Brendan Harrison, Nick Geck. They're a year younger, but my generation is just me and the Mossies. We kind of followed each other we raced our first junior national together as 4-year-old kids.
Yeah, that would have been my age group.
Yeah.
But you, the Mosses. Brad
Thompson, there was,
It was Monia.
Gibbsy, they are all kind of my age group side of things, yeah.
That's crazy. If I'd have stayed here, I'd have ended up racing you guys. That's funny.
Yeah.
So were you a standout junior? Or when I say standout, like you were
well, I guess I won my first junior national. I won that junior national on a peewee. Yeah. So, but that just comes from time on the bike, I think, for young kids. It's especially in my generation, it was a lot to do with who rode the most. So, and being from Rockhampton and being able to go out, and the Rocky track now, which was 6 Mile back in the day, is this brutal sand track that we started riding on 50s and 60s.
That's that same club track.
And there was actually another track in Rockhampton. That was hard pack, but obviously the hard yakka was done at the 6 mile, and you could just go out there in the middle of the week and moto. So after school, that's what we did.
It was back when it was the open key policy, right?
It was a good place to build a base. It's like starting at Roy's Road on a peewee, you know, you just
doing the hard yards.
You didn't have another option, and you just started grinding straight away. So it kind of set the foundations for the whole future for me, I guess, starting off there. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So obviously, 90s, early 2000s, you do the junior deal.
Yes.
What year do you go senior?
I go senior 2005, race the under 21s thing that they had then, National Cup. I won that. And then the next year.
So you were definitely a guy coming up, right?
Yeah.
What was your support back in the day? Who were you riding for?
Yeah, so I was Yamaha supported from 12. So they obviously run that junior, was it YJR?
Junior. Yeah.
That was the same sort of program they ran back in the day, just a way smaller scale. Say like one or two of us in each state that were Yamaha supported and rode from there. So it was definitely Yamaha from around 12 up until I turned senior, and then I got a guest ride for Dakar in 2006 on a 450 when I was 17.
Yeah, right.
Troy Carroll had broken a bone, so they were out of rider. I was racing in Queensland at the time and doing well on both bikes, and they gave me a guest opportunity, and then I ended up it worked out well. I obviously performed good enough, and it stuck for that entire year. I rode as a guest rider, and then
so your first pro year, you were on CDR.
Went straight there, yeah.
Wow.
So
right.
So raced 4 and straight up to 450 as well. Raced 450 motocross. Then there was a few supercross races at the start of the year that I'd missed already, and then there was 3 or 4 of them at the end of the year. Started the weekend after Coolum.
Yeah, right.
Nationals. So I raced 450 in supercross as well that year, 2006, and then signed a contract for Dakar for the next year, which was me, Mossy, and Shane Boyd was their main guy at the time.
So you were 450 again in 2007?
450 again in 2007, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know, because this is before my time in Australia, so I did not know that you were a 450 factory guy.
Went straight to 450.
Wow.
Which was, looking back on it, was way too early for me to go on a 450.
How were your results?
I finished in 2007. I finished 7th motocross, 5th in supercross. So good, really good considering my age. I was 17, turning 18 at the time.
I guess the pressure's off to land those results at that age.
But could absolutely ride the wheels off a 250 as well. So I think was just before my time. Shouldn't have been. If I went back, I wouldn't have ridden 450 yet.
Yeah, but it's one of those opportunities you can't really turn down either, though, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So did those 2 years with CDR, and then went back to 250 with Circa.
In 08.
Yeah, back to Circa 08. Back to 450 09 with Honda.
Right.
Then back to 250, 10, 11, 12, 250 for Honda, and then up to 450 from there. So
you're switching classes and teams.
Yeah.
Is that obviously not by choice? It's what's available and where you're at, or
just opportunity, future direction. And so I had options to stay 250, but obviously just the probably not the right direction, not the right people in my corner at the time to give me the right direction either. So
it's such a theme with these interviews we do of our generation.
Yeah.
Like Ferris especially has said this, like with him going to Europe and different things. There wasn't as much guidance back then, hey?
No. You were kind of guided by
the industry.
Yeah, and even just you. And I guess all the guys from my generation I see as just like workhorses, you know, Gibbsy, Todd, like I was one of them, Ferris. You were just grinders, so you just trained, and then you kind of just went wherever it put you.
Was. Yeah,
as opposed to a plan and a path. But then saying that too, we didn't have guys like me that were in their corner giving advice and that sort of stuff at the time, other than parents and that sort of stuff. But it wasn't.
Well, dude, like I look at Allsop as a great example, right? Like we have a mutual connection there with the Allsop family. Like you're his coach, and we're his agent / media provider / management on that side, right?
Yes.
The kid's MX3 rider.
Yeah.
And it's like you compare that
Yeah.
to, you know, he's rebuilt his whole career this year after having injuries and losing a factory ride.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's all the interest for him next year now and everything that collectively this group of people that they've put around him have been able to achieve.
For sure. And then from my side of things, there is even them, if you left them to their own devices without the right support or mentorship, they potentially would have went in a different direction.
Yeah,
absolutely. There was a high chance Jet was stepping up to MX2 or MX1 this year.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you know, you got to learn to follow the path, do the work, learn to win first where you're at, and build resilience racing in your own
age bracket.
Where you should be. Yeah. I feel like stepping up too early a lot of the time, depending on the mindset of what it is, but I've seen it in other riders where they step up to get away. And I think that is the worst thing you can do. You need to learn to lose and build that resilience within your own.
I feel that looking at I tend to oversimplify things. You're probably a little deeper than me on the coach and performance level, but it's like a lot of the kids that do well in juniors, then they're in their own age bracket in MX3 to a degree, but they are winning either at the beginning of the age group, so they're not battling, they're not getting roosted, they're not, you know what it's like in MX2, right? Like you're either, unless you're checking out front, you're in a battle for the majority of the moto, and there's a guy in front of you, there's a guy behind you, it's 30 minutes, and it's such a different dynamic to that younger racing style. Yeah. And it's like you see so many of those kids, like you say, that either step up too early or even if they age out, but they never adapt to that next level of racing. Yeah, yeah.
And I've seen that in riders in the past, like Jay Wilson, for example. You know, they stretched out their under-19s
career,
and then they went on to be multiple-time champ. You know,
Wilson Todd's another one, right?
Willie, they learn the resilience of losing, then winning, figuring out how to win, and then that starts the domino effect from there to keep building. And then also, I can only look at my own career based on stepping up to 450 and doing that. It was just injuries, you know, the not mature enough mentally or physically to ride the bike to its ability, and then having a mentality, which I did, which was all in. You know, I wasn't scared to get hurt, wasn't scared to crash, so I was able to swing off the thing.
But you put yourself in positions.
Put myself on the ground a lot and was injured a lot because of that. So I think there is a way to do it. And depending on the size of the rider, Toddy stepped up to 450 at 19, I think.
He's a monster, right?
He did a year on 250, which didn't work out for him, and then stepped up to 450 and sweet from there. But different guy, different size, different.
Yeah, it depends, right? I guess and Jet's right on that transition now, where it's like he's 80 something kilos, probably 6'3". Like he's taller than, I'm 6 foot. You're taller than me. I'm pretty sure he's taller than you. Yeah, he's massive. Yeah, right. Like he could probably fit pretty nicely on a 450 now.
He could do, and the thing is, you can ride it. Jet could ride a 450 absolutely amazingly, and whether he goes down that path or not, we'll see. But there's so many moving parts of, you know, it's not just how fast you can ride.
It ain't just riding it.
You have to be an animal, you know. It is a different thing, and a lot of guys get shocked to that. They go to practice track and they can ride a 450, but then go to racing and just get absolutely.
Well, I think everyone can ride it. Like if you're a good pro rider, you're never going to get on a 450 and ride it slower.
And the guys that are younger get on those 450s and be like, "This is easy. This is nice." It is a different
25 minutes in. It ain't nice.
No, and the reason why guys like Gibbsy have had such a long career based on the base and stuff that they had worked up, where no one's been able to knock them out of their rides, is because of that. You know, it's it is a different beast completely, and it's easily underestimated when you're not actually in that class racing it.
No, I agree, and I want to talk about the business side of it in a bit, with like the longevity of those vet guys, and I guess you retiring so young, and would you have been in that group? I think you would, continuing on. But like I brought Allsop up as that example, right? But it's like you didn't have that people around you, you know. Like I'm like, my comparison to racing pro in the UK when I was 18, 19 in a transit van on my own. You know, like dad's working. My mum lived here, and don't have a coach. You don't have like there was nothing.
Yeah.
You just went and raced.
That's right. Yeah.
And you know, Dad was there on the weekends, and you do what you can, but there's no career path. There's no guidance, right?
No, and it's you're doing, like I said before, obviously we're all grinding, we're doing the work. We probably worked harder, definitely. But the quality in the grind wasn't there. So, you know, the boys show up at the track now and it's structured and it's on the pit board, everything's accounted for. You know, they've got me saying they're going, you did this, you did that, you changed this with your technique, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We just went out and motoed.
Yeah.
You know, Todd and I would just show up in the van together and get it out. We had stopwatch on the bar pad like everybody, and you just press a button, do 30-minute moto, and whether you gauge whether you're going fast or not was me looking where Todd was, making sure I was catching him, you know, and that's pretty much. But there's so much positive in that too. We had to get up and do
old school. It worked back then, and it works now.
Yep.
But it's evolved. And I think if you look at where Australia's gone, there's very few top pro guys that are not on a program now. Like you got Beaton in Vic, you've got yourself up here on the sunny coast, and then you've got 00 with Crawford, and that sort of Gold Coast and inland down there. That accounts for most of the top 10 in both classes.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, all classes.
And I think the biggest benefit in those groups is to the younger guys that are coming up through. You know, the older guys like the Clouts, the
Gibbs, whatever.
The Tanties, the Gibbsies, they're further along in their career, so they're not as sponged. They're not as willing to take on what you're providing. They're there for the structure, right? The most positive there is for the structure, the place to go train, somebody to tell them what to do so they don't have to think about it. They know they're ticking the box, they're doing the work.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that old school way of when they first started the coaches. I think like the Carmichael era of it, where it was just the structure was what produced the result. Yeah. The Villapoto, who Villapoto's first trainer was, I can't remember, but Lawrence.
Yeah, Randy Lawrence, yeah.
And I remember listening to an interview with him, and he was like, my job is just to make sure that Ryan goes to the race on the weekend not thinking that he hasn't done enough. They were just at the track with us swinging off a pit board, making him do...
Well, it was almost like babysitting to a degree, right? Like,
and I spent time in America as well. I spent a month at Carmichael's later in my career, and Martins were there, Savacci was there, and that was what it was. It was 3 40-minute motos a day on the stopwatch. Every lap time they did accounted for, written down in a book.
So very much. I don't know. I'm of an opinion where, like, I think if you look in America now, you've got like the Alden Baker program and that era that Carmichael and that pioneered.
Yeah.
I feel like that's losing. It's like Carmichael, Villapoto, Dungey.
Yeah.
That was the linear path of those guys that excelled under cycling this many Ks a week.
Yeah, it's work ethic.
This many motos, this many crunches. Like, you know, and I was in that era, right? Like I had my training program in Victoria. I had my gym.
Yeah.
And it was the thing in moto to do.
Yeah.
But I feel like the sport's almost evolved now to a point where I feel the relevancy of like the Baker program, or it's more the facility as opposed to that crazy workload that doesn't seem to work anymore.
Well, I think it still does to a certain point, but then you've got the modern, I think the most modern of these training is the technical side of stuff. Yeah. You know, the Lawrences are...
They innovated it, right?
Cole Davies has spent years
with BT,
one-on-one training with BT, you know, based on, and a lot of that technical stuff is based off repetition.
Yeah.
You know, we can all do it, but the repetition to make it where you're engaged in that position, like, constantly, where you don't know anything else. Whoops is probably the perfect example for Cole Davies.
There's no other way of getting through the whoops than
it started off rolling through them, you know. And I have this conversation with some of the boys, like, say you spent 6 months rolling through whoops in the exact position, like adding all the 1%ers, you know, on your toes, peg pressure, squeezing, unlocked hips, switched on core, head stays over the bar pad. Say there's like hundreds of different 1%ers,
little 1%ers,
that you can add into that, and you did it just rolling through them because you've got the time to and you were the kind of guy that was happy to do the mundane shit that no one else is willing to do. what is the end result in that? Well, you don't know any other way to go through the whoop, so you're going to be in. You only know one way, and it's that structure.
And that's going to allow you to go faster and faster and faster.
And you see that in Cole,
Yeah.
because he like visually looks like he is on par with the best whoop rider in the world at the moment.
I feel he is. I mean, if you look at the speed he can go through them, and what's, like you said, the personification of what you're saying is at the end of them 250 mains or the Triple Crowns, when the whoops are completely destroyed, everyone's jumping, and he's still doing the exact same thing. And
his body position, it maintains the exact same all the way through. So it's a habit. It's a habit for him, and that comes from having a high strike rate of executing that exact position, doesn't it? You know,
I don't get excited to watch many people ride anymore. It sounds conceited, but like, you know, we've been around it for so long. But when I saw he was announced, I'm like, I'm really excited to watch him go through the whoops at Marvel. Like, it's going to be cool to see that in person, you know.
Yeah. And then he maintains that everywhere. It's not just whoops, and his structure,
his corner speed and
his body through the corners, you know, where he transitions to seated, how he maintains that one position all the way through the turn, you know. His body doesn't create any loss in momentum or any mistakes. It's engaged. I think the word is engaged.
It's purpose. Like you said, everything he does on the bike is adding to going faster or maintaining momentum.
That's right.
So back to you, because that's an awesome segue. But like your career going back to those late 2000s.
Yeah.
So 250, 450. Obviously, you're national champ in 2012.
Yes.
So you're the MX2 champion at the MX Nationals in 2012. Before that, is it a linear path to top 5 guy, podium guy, race winner, championship guy, or is it all over the place? Like,
no, it's I had the speed to win straight away, always, like that side of stuff. It's just injury based, I guess, and overriding. So just having a one set mind of start and get to the front as fast as I can. And it was how I was brought up as a kid, you know. It's it obviously filters through when you become an adult. It becomes all you know, like we just spoke about the habits. So that was definitely my mindset, which was something that needed to be tweaked a lot.
To get you to be ready to win races and win a championship.
I could win races straight away based on how I could ride a motorbike, but I also laid on the ground a lot too, you know. So
I remember, like I said, I first got exposed to professional racing in Australia in 2012.
Yeah.
Like, I'd been over here a few years, hadn't ridden. I was like, I'm just going to get back into riding. Got a bike, and then I started racing locally. I was like, I'll go do some nationals.
Yeah.
And so first national was Conondale 2012.
Yeah.
So I have at this point no back knowledge of anybody. I'm just rolling into the pits.
Yeah.
And you're the guy on the 250. I think you won that round at Conondale.
No, I went 1-1. I went 1-1-6 there.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just remember.
But yeah, I should have won.
You were the fastest guy though, right? So for me, first exposure, we're going back 15 years or whatever. I'm like, okay, this is obviously the guy. Like, I don't know any different. Your technique is dialed. You're on the 250F, which was a really good, the Honda on your Reeves team. So like super competitive bike back then.
Yep.
And you and Townley both were the guys that round.
Yeah.
So for me, my base setting for you was like, oh, he's just the guy. And I didn't know how long you'd been the guy or anything like that. But you remember this is pre-social media and, you know, it was different back then. But obviously the path to get there, that was those years for you, you know, coming of age, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was filled with injuries would be the word to say. Always had the speed to do what I did in 2012, but
like, what are we talking here though? Are you talking like wrists and fingers, or are you talking
knees,
like
legs,
big injuries?
Stuff that takes 3 to 6 months consistently
threw you off progression and consistency.
Yeah, and that the positive thing in the moment, I always secured rides based on when I got on the bike. I guess I performed
right back to where you were.
Yeah. Especially in my younger years, that obviously changes as you get older, and the compounding effects of missing out on a lot of riding. But in the first period of my career, that first 6-7 years, it was injury, get back on, go straight back to performing or back to being at the front anyway. So the
Yeah.
loss in championships or the results that aren't on paper are based on time sitting on the couch, not time that I was on the track. When I was on the track, I was performing. Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. You know what time it is. We can't do the Inside Dirt podcast without the sponsors. And this one goes out to the guys at THOR MX Australia via the distributor at Gas Imports. Make sure you head to the Gas Imports website, check out the THOR brand page and view the all-new MX26 collection, which is now live. It is championship proven across the sport mode and launch mode lines. You've seen it on Danger Boy Deegan. You've seen it on Aaron Plessinger. It is industry-leading racewear and performance. Check it out at Gas Imports now. So, National Champ 2012, that's your only championship.
Yeah.
So that's a shitty thing to say, only championship. Yeah. But you're a select few that sort of won a national championship. But do you go 450 the year after?
Yeah, I went straight back up to 450.
And was that on the same team?
Yeah, it was. So 2012, got the opportunity to ride Honda. BT and Brad Anderson, both world-class riders, were my teammates. So BT took me under his wing in 2012, definitely.
Yep.
And just, I guess just having, and him among other people that were big support, like a big support network in 2012, just obviously toned things down a little bit, tried to get me to chill out a bit.
Put the pieces together.
Yeah, put the pieces together, yeah. Just, and it was like a mentality thing. It was, like I said before, overriding. So just finding that sweet spot where I could make it work. The year after I signed Honda, 2-year deal to go up to 450.
That's right.
Yeah. So I didn't finish the 2 years. I ended up pulling out midway through the first year with Honda.
Right.
So
I was trying to remember because you come back with KDM, right? At some point.
I ended up. So I went Honda. I signed a 2-year deal with Honda Go 450, and it was the new 450 Air Fork.
It was, wasn't it?
And
that thing wasn't the best bike.
No, it was such a. I struggled really a lot with the bike, and then I obviously got injured. I got injured around March, April.
Right.
So, and then that knocked me out for the year. In that process of being injured, I was approached by KDM and pulled out of my Honda contract at that point and went KDM for 20.
Then you were Gibbsy's teammate.
Yeah, I went 2014 for KDM.
That's right. That's where I was trying to put that together.
So then I had 4 years there with Kada, with 4 or 5 years there on a 450 that were just between the years 2009 to 2014. I had an ACL Rico every year, so alternating ACL Ricos every year. So that just 6 months at a time knocked me out.
Why did you choose to keep getting it done?
I guess just due to my physique. Yeah.
So you're one of those guys without an ACL that can't function?
Well, it just kept blowing out and doing more damage. So that was the thing. I definitely tried to.
So you did try?
Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah. I definitely tried for periods of time with it blown out until it just wouldn't happen.
I've got my ill-fated Supercross comeback in 2016. I did ACL, MCL, dislocated my knee.
Yeah.
Like destroyed it. Had young kids, had my coaching business.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll deal with this.
Yeah.
So I just sat on the couch for a couple of weeks, let the swelling go down, rehabbed it.
Yeah.
And I still haven't had it fixed.
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing was I called like John Park and some of the industry doctors, and I was like, look, man, like, what's the risk? And they're like, well, you're going to get arthritis.
Yeah.
Either way, whether you get surgery or not. And I was like, well, I've got an elbow that's destroyed with arthritis already. Like, that is what it is.
Yeah.
But to your thing, if I was racing pro or still racing properly, I don't like now. It's getting bad now.
Yeah.
Like nearly 10 years later. But it's like whenever I ride for a prolonged period of time, there comes that foot dab or something that will pop it quickly.
That's right. Yeah.
And whether it's the scar tissue popping or it dislocates a little bit, you know?
Yeah, everybody has different philosophies on that whole ACL thing. It at the time, 2009 was my first, and it was among other injuries. So I had a big crash while I was riding for Honda, and did tib, radius ulnar, and ACL. So
just when I asked you what were these injuries, you kind of downplayed it. Like we're talking big injuries, man.
Yeah, big injuries, like 6 months turnaround and stuff. So that was.
So say that again: tib, fib, shoulder, elbow,
radius and ulnar, and
radius,
my left arm, and ACL. So then that knocked me out for 2009.
Damn, bro.
You build back up, get back to going. 2010, 250 did ACL again. 2011 ACL. 2012 won the championship. Yeah. Did ACL after round 1 of Supercross.
Yeah.
So even in that year, I did an ACL.
Right.
2013 did an ACL, and these are alternating.
Oh, so it's just killing your momentum.
Yeah. So the last 2 though that I actually got were the Lars ligaments, the artificial.
Right.
And great, like thankfully I had the right tears that made it work, and they've stuck. So
they're the ones that didn't re-break.
They haven't since. So that was 2013 was my last ACL.
Yeah, right.
In that process, obviously, also had our first child, 2013. So that came early too. I was only 25, so pretty early in my career.
Young to have kids, yeah.
Yeah, and then 2014 KDM broke my arm leading into round 1, and then did 2 stable fractures in my neck once I got back on the bike around August. So that knocked me out of the whole year with KDM.
So what's going on with your contracts with this stuff? Like with you being injured all the time, are you still getting paid?
Yeah, I was at the time, and which is because
they've tightened up on that a lot more nowadays.
Probably because of guys like me that were on the ground all the time. But but I guess it's such a catch-22 there. Like you're risking your life, you're doing the work, and you get injured, and then.
Look, I agreed the riders should get paid, right? Like you assume the risk.
Yeah.
Or I've seen contracts where it drops down to a percentage, but
all of my contracts held, and all of the teams I rode for, Yamaha, KDM, Honda, all honored them and respectfully did too. And I obviously respected them back. Basically.
Yeah, and you'd have been at the races and doing what you could to support them.
Yep.
So I remember because 2014 I started doing the live broadcast stuff for MX Nationals. That was my first year. So I remember you being around, but like I said, I'm trying to, I think you were in Trolley Designs on the KDM maybe, but you just weren't riding that much.
Yeah,
and
it just wasn't, I wasn't there.
Yeah, you just wasn't there.
It. So a lot went on in those from 2012 to when I stopped, really, just between injuries, having children, all that stuff at a young age, and not having the maturity to manage all of that. Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing. Looking back on it, I have no regrets at all, like based on how everything went. But definitely, without a doubt, look back, would I have did things differently? 100%. Yeah, different paths, different things, different situations that popped up in life that affected the way. And at the time too, now that I've got a different head on my shoulders and I'm a bit more mature and I can look at it differently. I've got, my kids are 10 and 12 years old now. So as a 25-year-old to 26, having two children right in the middle of when things are grinding with my career, I would have changed that. I would have did it differently for sure. Yeah. So just didn't have the maturity to manage all of that at the time. I've got mates that race with kids, and
it's normally later in their career.
Yeah, they're in their 30s and things are a bit more settled. I was 25 years old, right in the middle of everything going down, and presented with these things, which we managed sweet at the time. But now that I can look back at it differently, didn't manage it at all. Just did it.
But listening to your list of injuries, though, man, like you're quite understating how hard that would have been. Mentally, right? Like, I don't care how old you are or how well you have your head on your shoulders. You saw it, Jeremy Martin is a prime example.
Yeah.
Adam Cianciarillo. Like, there's only so much you can take.
Yeah.
Year after year after year. Like, physically you can come back, but mentally, it takes its toll.
It does, yeah. I think, and the compounding loss of
time
on the bike was the big thing. I've had multiple injuries throughout my whole career. I've had 50 to 60 broken bones, 5 knee reconstructions, back stuff. But when I was younger, the bounce back was a lot different, Then as I got older, the compounding loss in time obviously starts making that part of it harder.
Well, as you're also getting to the elite level of the sport. Like, you're not in 250s anymore.
No.
You look at Gibbsy at that point, who won 2015,
Yeah.
or Mostert won 2014, like they're at the top of their career arc.
Yeah.
They're like years and years and years to get to that point, and you're just off the couch.
Yeah, so that was hard. And in the moment too, like no questions asked, like just got back into it. That was one of the things with moto up until children, which changed for me subconsciously, I guess. It's
Well, then
such
you're
a
also
selfish sport, you know, and I was all in moto. Like I didn't care. I would just get injured and just be like, all right, cool. The grind starts day one, you're out of surgery and you're getting back to being on the bike.
having kids changes your perspective on everything,
Sure.
life,
Definitely.
risk.
Yeah.
And
So-
yeah,
and it wasn't a conscious thing though for me. It was
not conscious.
subconscious. So I guess got down to the point where, say, the year I retired was 2015. I'd signed a deal with Honda. Yuriv was like, "Yep, cool." We're
so you go
going
back to
racing.
Honda in
Went
15.
back to Honda.
Okay, I thought so.
Coming
Yeah.
off the neck, the arm and neck thing with KTM.
Yeah.
I got back on the bike at the start of the year. My partner at the time was pregnant with our second child, so we were like 26 at this point. And then so in the preseason, missed my second child's birth. So just I was in Melbourne testing. So just so many compounding things I look back at now that
Taking a toll on you
obviously,
mentally. Yeah.
definitely, yeah. Whereas at the time it's like just life, you just keep going. But those
Looking back.
things affect the result
Mm.
over a period. So miss that, and then just that whole thing really.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Because I'm new to the pro scene.
Yeah.
You know, you guys all came up together, like I said, 14, 15. Then my first year's doing TV and everything for MX Nationals. But I remember having a conversation with you in 15, and this leads into what you said about going to America. And you're like, I don't know when it was like mid-season.
Yeah, it was.
And you're like, I'm going to Carmichael's. And I was like, oh, cool. And But you basically said to me, I'm going to go and get my shit together. And if this, like, because you're pretty blunt, it always stuck in my head. You basically said to me, if this doesn't work, nothing's going to.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you were so, but I didn't have your backstory of all of this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and nobody does. You know what I mean? Nobody would know other than immediate family. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Young kids, missed the birth of my second child. Like all in the mid-season, I'm preseason training. I was at Melbourne testing with Honda when that happened. So, and then even I look back at that, the maturity to not go home. You know, the immaturity of staying and testing there.
Yeah, you're almost obligated. You don't want to let anybody down.
But now, like with a different head on my shoulders, there's no way I would have been in Melbourne testing. Do you know what I mean? I would have been at home and I would have been there. So just those things that come later.
But at 25, dude, you're still like, I was retarded at 25.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So that, but at the time you don't realize until you look back and you're like, okay, cool. Like there's a couple of dot points here that needed, and then not having, obviously.
Did you have like family around you, or is it just you and your?
Definitely had family around me.
You did?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, definitely had family, which were like a massive support. But it's.
I look at that, right, where it's like you see the kids, the families in the background, and often there's these really successful riders, and you look at the family.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're overbearing, because the overbearing parents burn the kids out, right? That those kids don't make it.
Yep.
Or they do and they're really damaged.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not making fun of it, but like that's the reality. But then you see a lot of these kids that have made it, and the dad's just there in the background, the mum's just there in the background, they're quiet, but you can see that they're just guiding.
Well, they become the support network.
They do.
Yeah. My parents were like that.
They were there.
They were.
Yeah.
When I become a professional racer, they took a massive step back and just floated around in the background as a support network for sure.
But I mean, they can't combat that injury list you had, man.
No,
like, no
it's
support
just,
can.
Yeah, due to circumstance.
So you go to Carmichael's.
Yep.
So that was when it was the goat farm, right?
Yeah.
The training facility.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which
is
epic.
Are you working with Ricky in that?
Yeah, he was there. Yeah. So Jeannie is she's the trainer there.
Yeah.
So she was training Joey and both Martins at the time. I went there for a month. Yuriv obviously got me the opportunity to go there, which I'm super grateful for. Did a month straight there with a 2-month-old at home. So,
It's rough.
and then came back. Obviously, I said to you, yeah, I'm going there. And came back, definitely improved on my results. At the time, Cody Cooper was my teammate at the time with Honda.
That's right, yeah.
And like I wasn't performing anywhere near I wanted to be. I wanted to be winning. That was just my mindset all the time. And we were running 5th to 10th, both of us. Had just gone to America for the month, flew back Thursday, raced Raymond Terrace.
Yeah.
I think I was 6th or something for the weekend, which nobody was very satisfied with. Yuri included. He obviously.
You're coming back off that program, you're going to expect more.
So at the time, no one was happy as far as like the result wise with the team. I definitely wasn't happy. There was stuff going on in my world. I was at the track. I was racing. I was away for round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're sitting on the start line, and I'm like, I should be at home.
You're getting split up the middle with family versus racing.
So and you need to be selfish in racing to win.
You have to be.
It's got to be everything. And it was everything. It was all like motocross was everything to me up until the point I had kids. And then I lost a little bit there. Mm-hmm. And then due to maturity, obviously wasn't able to manage that whole workload. To make all that work. So moto took a hit when I had children, definitely based on just me not being obsessed with it anymore. I did the work. Did everything. I still had the vision of winning and all those sort of things, but the selfishness was gone, which I think for me as a person, I needed that.
Yeah, it's like you see so many guys after they finish racing. I had this conversation with Ferris not long ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, the Ferris we have now is a different person to the Ferris we had as the multi-time champ.
Yeah.
You see it with Carmichael, you see it with Villapoto.
Yeah.
So many of these guys that, they race, they go home, and the entire world orbits around them.
Yeah.
But it has to be that way.
Yeah, it does.
And then I feel like that's so when you see professional athletes retire and they get divorced and all these things, I feel like it's because you actually have some sort of death as a person, because the world for you changes so much.
Yeah, well, you see a lot of those ex-athletes that retire go through depression. So many of them do that.
And I remember you back then, you weren't in the best place. Like, I didn't know you that well, but I could see it wasn't.
Well, I was results driven,
Yeah.
So not results driven, results satisfied. Yes. So
if it's going well, you're good.
Well, the grind was I always grinded. No doubt. I did the work, but everything's easy when you're winning.
Now the results.
My dad used to say that to me all the time. Like you're only down when you're not winning. If I wasn't winning, I was definitely pissed off. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't remember you being very happy those years.
No. Yeah, and it's just due to circumstance. I think just direction, path, not being able to manage it right, that sort of stuff. So went to America, did a month there, come home, raced Raymond Terrace a couple of days later, jet lagged, didn't perform what I wanted to, and Yuriv at the time was the boss of Honda, said to Coops and I that our results weren't good enough, and he was putting us on notice.
Yeah. And
I guess that was just the last straw for me with where I was at mentally at the time. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's it, I'm done then, So and I pulled the pin on the spot.
So you just there and then done.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember if you finished the season or not.
When I got that email of that, I was just like, all right, well, because I was stretching everything to make it all work at the time.
You're already at capacity,
I guess.
Breaking point. Yeah.
And then just with home life and then work life, being a racer, how we just spoke about how selfish you've got to be in that zone, not being able to be selfish because of outside circumstances with children, which.
So I don't want to ask too many personal questions, but was your wife at the time not bringing the kids to the races? And
no, we didn't. No, we kind of separated it, which
looking back maybe.
Well, no, I don't know if I would have changed that just due to how old we were. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's not like we were flying to races in our 30s with two kids and just like things had settled. We were just
Young
kids
and-
ourselves. Yeah.
yeah.
So to separate it to okay, race and try and do it that way it seemed like the right thing to do at the time due to maturity and circumstances.
That's fair. That's fair. I was just
Yeah,
curious,
yeah.
but
Looking
so
back, and I've got a lot of good friends like Justin Brayton, BT had kids, Toddy, Gibbsy. They're all so much. BT wasn't actually; he was a lot younger, but like Toddy, Gibbsy, Brayton, they're all a lot older, and they've got such a good balance between managing family and work life.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't come when you're 25.
Oh, dude, I look
And
back at
you're-
I didn't have
And I
kids
was
till
still
I
on
was.
the up. Not I hadn't.
Well, you
there wasn't
hadn't
a
made
plateau.
it, right? I
There
guess
was no
if you've
plateau,
made it
yeah.
for a few years
Yeah.
and you're winning championships, adding kids into that is not
Yeah.
gonna.
And I see those guys; they want to win. Gibbsy and Gibbsy and Toddy are good friends of mine. They both want to win, but it's not everything to them anymore.
Mm,
At 25, I had children, and winning was still everything to me, and I couldn't figure out how to manage both of them.
balance that out. Yeah.
These guys like have kids, and they're racing because they love it, and they can still do it for a job, and they can still make money. But looking from the outside, they're not going to win anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Realistically, they'll win a moto here or there.
yeah,
They're on the podium
guys
here or
who are
there.
fully invested in it, and it's all they know. The Beatons, the Websters, the Cloudy, and Supercross. They're the guys that are gonna. They're the ones that are gonna win the championships. You know.
Yeah.
So
So
I was in the thick
how,
of all that, trying to manage it at the time as a kid. You know.
How is that phone call received when you say to your Eve, "All right, I'm out"?
I guess not well. Like everyone was like, "What the hell? Like what?" And I was just like, "Well, you've put me on notice, and I'm
done.
I'm at my end." So and just that was it then. So
Yeah. Because I remember it now. Like I said, I was trying to remember if you finished the season, and no, there was quite a bit of noise that
yeah,
you just were done.
yeah, it was mid-year.
Yeah, mid-year. So then, yeah, far out, man. As
Yeah.
a person, that's just going to turn your world upside down,
Yeah,
right?
and I stepped away from moto completely at that point. I didn't like. Obviously, I'm heavily invested in it right now, and it's a huge part of my life. But for 3 or 4 years there, it was completely out of it. I didn't step into it anywhere, and that was due to my own feelings of I still wanted to do it. I still did want to do it. I still had the desire to like perform and win. I still laid in bed at night envisioning winning, you know, the things you do when you're right at the pinnacle of it all. And I still had those for 3 or 4 years where
Well, you would have at 25, man.
and or 26, 27, 28, 29, I was still had those feelings. So while I had those, I didn't put myself in the position of being involved.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like
sport.
I guess it's like a recovering addict can't be around
Yeah, so I just
certain
separated
things,
from
right?
it. Yeah, I
What did you do?
I went to the mines for a few years.
okay.
So just
I guess
stepped
that's
away
about
from
as
it
far
completely.
away from life as you
Yeah.
can get, right?
And then Justin Brayton came over and started racing Supercross here, and he based on the Sunshine Coast. So that I started dabbling back in the moto side with him. We built a good friendship. I started flying to some Supercrosses with him in 2016.
16?
Might have been 2018 or
Yeah.
one of those, and went for a ride with him a couple of times. I hadn't ridden in 2 years, and went for a ride, and then he was like, "You should race again." Do you know what I mean? So you should start racing, and I was doing some work with Honda at the time, just helping some of the riders, just Josh Kasher and Gavin Faith, and that were there. So I was flying in on the weekends and doing bits and pieces. And Cloudy was riding for Honda as well on 250. So it must have been.
Yeah. I don't remember what year
It
that
might have been 2017.
I know Keish came back in 16.
It might have been 16.
I remember training
so it
with
was
him.
2016.
Yeah,
And Luke broke his wrist at Avalon Supercross.
that's right.
And I was there, obviously mentoring the boys. And I had ridden once in the last year when I went with Brayton. And they were like, "Oh, there's a bike there if you want to race Supercross." And I
Right.
was like, "Oh, yeah, cool." And I was like, "Oh, should I, shouldn't I?" And I'd already been talking to Justin about getting back into racing.
Mhm.
So I jumped on one of the boys' practice bike 250, went and rode at Boydie's one day that week, and then raced Sydney Supercross.
Yeah, right.
And then after that, I had intention of getting back into it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't strong enough for me to to go all in with it. So
Yeah.
I nipped it in the bud. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm pretty like straight down the line with that stuff. Like if you want to do something,
You do it
start
all
doing
in.
it straight away. Or if there's any concerns or any like, if I drag my butt for a day and I haven't started doing what I should be doing, I know it's not there.
You don't have the drive to do it.
Yeah. So
okay, so you go into the mines, you kind of, you thinking about coming back to racing, and you're doing the real world thing, and obviously family life's a lot more stable.
yeah,
Not racing. So when I don't remember, like it's a silly thing to say. I know you've been a coach now for like I only remember you now short term as Coach Ford.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when this all started.
So 2020, the COVID year, was that 2020?
It was, yes.
So 2020, I started. 2021 was when we did a couple of races.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
COVID year was
three. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2021, I had an injury that I got surgery on outside of moto completely, like and then I was off work for a month or so, and Gibbsy and I had been chatting because Dan from MXRP was doing his stuff at the time.
That's right, yeah.
So I just started going on the track with Gibbsy, and then Drew giving him some stuff, like telling him bits and pieces, like observing, watching. Just started swinging off the pit board, and I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be. So I just stopped everything I was doing at the time and went all in on that, like on the spot. So
wow.
Yeah. And just
you are a very cut and dry character, hey?
Yeah. With Gibbsy. Well, yeah, I've got the work ethic and discipline to do whatever I want to do, but I've got to want to do it.
Yes.
And so I went down that path, started with Gibbsy, Jesse Dobson, Jet Allsop.
When he was juniors,
and the two Latimer boys.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's right, the Latimers. Now I remember. Yeah.
So I just kicked off from there pretty much, and I haven't
looked back since.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, now you're one of the, there's 3 elite coaching programs.
Yeah.
Luckily I stopped coaching, otherwise no.
There's so many coaches like a lot of really good coaches in Australia, but there's over 3 professional coaches.
Well, this is when I got out of it, right? Like we had at the time, I started my coaching program in 2012, right? And back then it was you go rent a track and you run your school for the day or the weekend, and that was it. There was nothing beyond that.
Yep.
You worked with some guys private coaching during the week, but it wasn't structured like it is what you guys were doing. And I went, before I raced here in 2012, I was like, I'm slow. I haven't raced for years. I was like, I'm going to go to MTF. So I took myself to MTF. I did 6 weeks in America, like preseason. And kind of inadvertently learned that program. And it was like nothing I'd seen before.
Yeah.
And then there was nothing over here at that. So when I came back and started my coaching program, I just brought over everything I'd learned from the States, right?
For sure.
And we had that point of difference, and our program blew up really quickly. But it was still that old school. We were Kawasaki, then we were Honda, then we were KTM, but we had manufacturer support, and we had a junior team, and we did events, right? And I did that for years whilst I had my gym, and it grew well. But when Ross came in, Ross had the pro connections, right?
Yep.
And he then started to evolve into what you guys are now, where it was like the midweek
and
programming.
And how mine started too. It was just off
connections.
Gibbsy and I's relationship, our respect for one another, I guess, is what kickstarts that. And that's something with the elite coach side of stuff, or like the professional coaching side of it, is you'd have to have that
trust.
Respect, where it started with Gibbsy, what I'm telling him, he trusts what I'm telling him, and then it compounds from there. But similarly, I'd spent a month at Carmichael's and understood the only difference between what I was doing at home on my own and what I did at Carmichael's was the
environment, I guess.
Yeah, and the structure of accountability. That's probably more it. We did the work. I did the work. But there was no accountability to anything I was doing. Nobody was on the pit board. No one was telling me I dropped a second on a lap. No one was this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And that's what Carmichael's is based on. There was no technique work or anything done there. It was purely, you show up at the track, we did a practice, we did a quali, We hit a qualifying time, and that was our time for the day. And it was very, very accountable. From memory, I think they were saying Ricky's like lap time accountability was half a second or within the second. If he dropped out of it, Jeannie gave him extra laps. They were doing 40-minute motos. So it was a grind, you know. You showed up, you did quali in the morning, you did a 1:30, and 1:30 was your time for the day. Every time you were out of 1:30, you got an extra lap, and that was their compounding.
Yeah, it's like compounding momentum of.
So, and I understood that anyway because I was already doing it just without the accountability side. Then when I started coaching, I love the technical aspect of it. That's, you know, the older guys, they're there for that structure, for the show up, get people to do the laps. But the younger guys coming
development.
Through,
and I guess that's sort of where I love the technique side. And then as the sport evolves, like Ross pioneered that down in Vic.
Yep.
Like we put a pro crew together, and I would have my pro guys, my MX3 guys, whatever. But you and I have had this conversation where I was like, okay, for me, I was like, well, if I want to keep doing this, I'm going to have to go buy land, build a facility, because the clubs don't want to rent tracks anymore, or they're charging crazy money. And then you leveraging all these relationships for your private tracks, and it's very hard to build a scalable business.
Yeah.
You just got to be living it, right? And then same as you, I'd had kids at this point, and I'm like, I enjoyed TV and media, so then I just moved in that direction, right? But you know that pioneering of those programs, like I said, now unintentionally, you know, that's just your relationships, your trust with the pros, and same with Ross, and same with Big Croft. But now you guys are like the three that the pro guys train with.
Yeah.
And it's cool because it's elevated the sport here.
Yeah,
like the level that the guys are at here now is a world-class level.
Definitely. And I think the best are still going to be the best, whether they're in the program or not. But obviously the level they can get to is higher. But there's more. So there's the depth is higher.
Yeah, I think
so you've got, say, 10 guys with me, 10 with Ross, 10 with Croft. So there's 30 of the guys that are racing national side of stuff. The depth in the sport at the moment is deep. You know, it's not one guy just dominates the whole field. Like obviously Kyle and Jed did a lot of that in motocross, but generally,
it wasn't one of them.
It's not.
No.
Whereas back in the day it was a lot more like that. You know, in the Carmichael era, it was one or two of them, and then you see it in America based on the training programs. There's 13 guys that are previous, past, future winners.
Yeah, if you look at that 450 class, the majority of the main event and Supercross have all won a regional championship. They've all won a main event.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that way here now. Like the old business model was the MXGP, you know, all the exports from Australia that went to MXGP. Did you never have opportunity to do that?
No, I didn't. So
I was meant to ask that earlier.
That was something. That's obviously something too that I probably would have did differently after I won the championship in 2012. Just based on not the right direction and not having the right guidance.
Yeah,
I would have just packed up and left.
Yeah.
If I went back on it, but you do get stuck here, and you see that with guys. Still, I still see it.
I think there's a clear fork in the road, right?
Yeah.
Where, sorry to cut you off, but yeah, you're either going to be a career guy here, or you're going to go overseas.
Yeah, I would have loved to have gone, and I think it would have worked out well for me. Just based on how I rode a bike, and
you'd have fitted in well in Europe.
I loved like big tracks, fast tracks, the speed of it, but no, didn't have. And when I was there in 2012, there wasn't any opportunity. I definitely spoke to Uriv and BT and that about trying to get over there, but looking back now, I kind of just left. I asked about it, left it up to them, didn't push it.
Yeah.
Now with a different head on my shoulders, I would have been like, I'm going, see you later, or like pushed hard, but I kind of just didn't know what to do. Just young and...
Or again, guidance. And I mean, Ferris went around that time.
Yeah.
I think he left at the end of 11.
Yeah. Yep.
Todd a little bit later. But they're very... Yeah, probably different personality types to you, where they're just going to go. And perhaps back then, like you said, you weren't that way.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like now looking back, I should have just packed up and bounced, you know.
But dude, like I remember, like it worked for Todd, it worked for Dean.
Yeah.
but it didn't work for Stike. It didn't work for Caleb Ward. It didn't work for a lot of that era that were around you.
I think Todd and Dean went at the right age too, a bit younger. I probably would have went to the US.
Okay.
And they were pre the time where they started making good money too. Yeah. As you get older, and then the money catches you here. I've heard guys speak about it with Connolly, where like, you as a professional racer in the early years, you don't make much money. No. So you do everything off nothing, and then you say you perform, and then all of a sudden you're making $200,000 a year. And it's easy to stay based on
making that.
Based on you're going to lose that if you leave. Yeah. So it kind of you get stuck in a rut based on.
Well, like you said with your family, right? Like all of a sudden, I don't know what you're signing on for back then, but like you're a B 450 rider to the A riders on your teams. That's back when everyone had 2 riders, right? You're off injury every year, so I doubt you're signing on for crazy money. And even if they're honoring your contracts, all of a sudden you got 2 kids and a mortgage and responsibility that, if you go to America at 19, you don't have that.
No, that's right. Yeah. And that's why, say when I won the championship in 2012, I should have just went then. So. And
Connolly's, I don't want to say stuff out loud right now, but like the rumors year after year is he's going to go overseas. Hopefully next year, from what I'm hearing, is that year. Yeah. But nothing's confirmed. But like, you look at 2 years here dominating, and like, I don't know your opinion, but it's like, I feel that, Kingsford and the like challenge him, but that's probably more because he's not being pushed any further than his speed that's setting the tone for that class, right? Yeah. So when he, I probably expected a little more out of him in the States.
Yeah,
I think at the same time, the bike and the heat and
could be pressure.
Like he doesn't seem, even the wild cards in China last year, he didn't really excel.
He hasn't, and not taking anything against him. He's amazing on a bike, but he hasn't performed on the large scale at all. Yeah,
and I love Connolly, dude. He's rad.
I mentioned this to BT a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, every race he's done overseas, he hasn't performed in. That's only as an outside, as a fan looking at it and looking at the results on paper. I obviously don't know the logistics and ins and outs and all that. But looking on paper, I'm like, okay, you've raced 5 or 6 times internationally, and every one of those times nothing, hasn't transpired. So
it's hard, isn't it? It's like you just, because you know what America's like. Like all they want to see is one lap time, one qualifying time. I
expected him to be inside top 10, 250.
Is that bike going to do that though?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think he, like, based on how you see him ride over here, he has the ability definitely to be top 10.
But like, say, that firepower team over there, I mean, what Uriva's built, incredible, right? He's literally the only guy in the world that's got an international team. Like, he's pioneering an infrastructure that is incredible, right? Yeah. So can't take nothing away from that. But his American team doesn't have the budget of Star or PC.
It would cost Uriv a lot of money.
Yeah, he's spending money to take those guys, which I don't think anybody understands either. Uriv doesn't have to send anybody over there, right? But Ironman in the middle of summer, when it's 3 foot deep, that firepower Honda probably isn't pushing the same power as those factory bikes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, they do an awesome job, and Uriv does he
does, dude. Man, but I guess I'm looking.
Obviously, before I spoke about when I rode for Uriv and we had our things, but as a person in the sport, and even as a friend now, like really good friend, there's nobody like him in our sport.
There isn't.
In moto, in Aussie, sorry.
In the world, dude. I think he's a one-off.
Just, like the passion, he is all in moto. Like, it's impressive. And then the second part of that is, as a young rider, the appeal to go ride for Honda would be so high based on every young kid's dream is to race internationally, and it is the gateway at the moment. It seems like the only gateway to be able to go through and it not cost money is to go through Honda. So,
it's the leverage, right?
If I was between 16 and 25 again now,
there's an option.
My direction would be going to Honda, because all I wanted to do was race overseas. So, I think he's kind of chomping everybody on that department, definitely.
Oh, he's
you see it in the guys that keep going to Honda. Yeah, it's because they're still hungry to leave.
There's leverage for them to go overseas.
There's nothing wrong with that. You can always come back. So
well, that was the old motto I was saying. It's like Townley, Cooper. I'm trying to think of other guys, Marmont, like both the Marmont brothers.
Yep.
Like they all left.
Yeah.
They would do 4 or 5 years. Ferris, Waters.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter if you do one. Stuxy did 1 year and came back.
They all left and came back, and then it's either going to work over there or it isn't.
Yeah.
And then, okay, done that part of my career. Crawford left. Like, it's still that model of...
I think you got to leave performing, though.
You got to leave in your prime.
To be able to come back you got to leave in your prime to be able to come back.
And take advantage, like beaten.
And roll into a ride. Or you leave young and just make it all happen. You've got Cannon, Owens, both guys overseas doing awesome. They've left.
Owens is, I mean, dude, everyone just forgets about him now, me included.
Yeah,
but he's finished out 2 podiums in EMX.
Cool.
Like,
it's probably they both still have another year in EMX as well. So, doing awesome. But he was mentored by Todd on what direction to go. And one of Todd's biggest things, like even when I speak to him, is just the time that he had there. He needed more time.
Yeah.
If he had have done 1 more year, if he had got that opportunity to do 1 more year instead of coming back, he would have. That's where the gain comes in that time there. So
when you look at,
he's pretty clear on that.
Jed, even, it's like he gets that Cowie ride 450 season in Europe. Is that right? Memory wise? Yeah. And it's like, it's a B team. It's not giving him what he needs, and he gets 1 year.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, had he just got that, look at what he's doing here now.
Yeah.
I have no doubt he could have been a guy in Europe in the 450 class, but he didn't get that extra time. You're right.
Yeah, he definitely could have, And Todd, like, if you speak to Todd, he'll say he came home, but he only needed the 1 more year. He podiumed around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he came home the next year. So, it's getting time to get comfortable with your surroundings, the environment, logistics, knowing the tracks, understanding how it all works, and to just roll in from over here and just jump into that.
So difficult.
And then you can see that with the Lawrences too. Like, they went over there and they stuck it out. They put the time in there.
On the flip side, though, I do see a lot of families, right? Say some families do have the means to do so, right? Successful family businesses, resources. They get to the early teens and they go, oh, Australia's shit. We're going to America. We're going to go race amateurs.
Yeah.
That's a tough path, man.
Yeah, it is. I think you do have to.
Like, I've seen very few of those kids go through amateurs and actually do anything.
It's like they don't build the I have an opinion on this.
Yeah.
And I've seen guys do it. I know certain people, like, not mentioning names, but they don't build the resilience here required to go over there. Like the losing, all those things that we were speaking about with Jet Alsop earlier in what he learned this year, and how to perform, how to win, how to manage it, all those sort of things. And then a lot of the time they just throw them into a facility in the US, which I don't agree with. I think
the facilities
we run a program here, but going over and jumping into MTF with 60 other guys.
Bro, MTF, when I went over there, I was early 20s, right? Like 23 or something, 24 maybe, not even, right? I was just like, this should be illegal.
Yeah, like, I haven't been a part of it, so I can't.
Like, there's kids there they're homeschooled.
Yeah.
Right? They're 14, 13, 12.
Yeah.
Mum and dad are paying for it. They're not there. You got a mechanic on site. You got some loose structure of life, but these kids are left to their own devices. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, man. Yeah. Like, as a parent, I would never let my kids do that.
Yeah. I don't, just from the outside looking in, I don't think it's going to work. It's
and that ain't like,
if you're going to go there, you go there and you do it as a family, and you just grind through doing the races, and you don't just dump in a facility. You kind of follow, at least for the first period, some form of structure like you do here, not just dumping into a facility.
You need family, and I let, like, Colleen, I'm still about MTF, right? But like, Colleen was awesome. The environment there, they were actually really good people.
Yeah.
But kids need their families around, and.
Well, it's just a big 4 caravan park with a motorbike track. That's what I think. And I rode at, when I was
That's
there.
a good way to put it, yeah.
When I was there at Ricky's, there was 4 of us there. And then I rode at GPF a couple of days, which is next door.
It is,
When I drove, because I'd only heard of MTF, never seen it or been a part of it. But driving past MTF and looking in there, and then realizing what it is.
Yeah,
like
bro.
it's
the first time I drove, I'm like, wow, this
it
is.
is like cotton. It is like a popular beach caravan park.
Yeah, there's a volleyball
on a
court.
holiday.
There's yeah, man. There's a
Yeah.
yeah. It's I don't and then a lot of those kids you're speaking into, they don't make it as amateurs in America, or they don't get a factory ride, and then they
Yeah.
come back here, and there's so much pressure on them because they're the guy from America, and 9 times out of 10 within a year they're done.
Yeah. But if they even come back.
Yeah,
Oh,
or they're
really?
just
If
like
they even
there's
come
that
back.
mentality of I'm kind of too good to race in Australia.
Yeah. Then
because
they can't. They've got to learn to win here. Learn to lose, learn to win. Like, especially if they don't make it there. Come back and jump in. I've only seen one guy go. Actually, Cloudy did.
I was going to say, I was going to mention him. He's
Yeah.
one of the few that, and think about how good he is.
Yeah.
And he didn't even make it as an amateur over there.
Yeah. Yeah. For whatever reasons, I haven't actually got the detail of Cloudy. Like, could be anything, could have been logistics, could have been money, could have been anything. But,
Well, he
but
came
he
back
still came
and
back
just,
at the right time, jumped in and did the grind.
he smoked everyone when he came back
Yeah,
in MX3.
Yeah.
And then that got him his deal with Serco, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And any kid in that class, if they'd come back from over there and did that, they would get a ride here too.
Yeah.
That exact path that Cloudy did would happen tomorrow.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
No matter who it is, So
All right, man. So look, could sit here and put the transition to pro to rights all day, but I'm conscious of the time. But so now, yeah, obviously Ford Dale Elite. So interesting transition for you. Gibbsy retires.
Yep.
Didn't announce it on the podcast, spewing.
well, you should have knew.
I knew, but I couldn't get him to say it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't say it. But Gibbsy's awesome.
Yeah.
Love him. You guys have been friends forever. So now you're training Supercross with the pro group, and we've got Junior Aussies coming up, Junior Nationals, and Gibbsy is taking your junior guys.
Yeah. I mean, naturally, Gibbsy, like I've always wanted Gibbsy to come in and do it with me. Like it's such the dynamic of two guys who know what they're doing, I guess, in different ways. Gibbsy's he's that workhorse. But even his technical aspect, like everything I say to him at the track, like our foundations are the same around the technique in moto, which is, and we're not reinventing the wheel. There's some guys that do, some don't, but our philosophies are the same, I guess. Like mine and Ben Townley's, we see the same thing. We teach it differently, but our foundations around it are similar. And Gibbsy's an I, so he's a perfect person.
Good fit. So is he gonna get more involved? Do you think?
He will. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And then not only that, it allows us to help as a group, like as him and I, because there's only so many, especially if you're trying to keep it at that elite side of things. There's only so much you can do
on your own.
It gets to a point where the quality goes, and it's that fine line between quality and making it work.
Well, that was
financially making it work and the quality. So having Gibbsy will be able to help that.
That was another reason I got out of coaching. Like, I'll be real. Like, when it got to the end for me, it was purely about the money.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, if it's about money, I'll just go do something else.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for the money.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying because, Ford can only do so much. You can only be at so many tracks a week.
It's still passion-based for me. So, and that's the beauty of passion-based occupations or things you love. Like moto, you do it because you love it, irrelevant of the money. Gibbsy and I are still in that frame of mind, so we're both willing to work hard for the end result of it all. But having him on will be a good thing in being able to just help more people between the two of us. So
that's great, man. Good. I mean, like you said, I go back to Allsop. It's not because we both work with him, but like I look at these kids now compared to what we were talking about at the start of your career or our generation of racing. And it's like they've got access to ex-champions. They've got access to media training, to marketing, to fitness programs, like rehab. Surgeons. We didn't have surgeons, dude.
Yeah. I don't. It's such a. I have two different opinions on this whole program thing. One is the positive of it, and then the other is the negative of it. The negative that I see is the resilience that builds doing it on your own.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys, and they'll, they come into a program at 15, 16, and they've never had to they show up at the track every day to a track. Starters not looking for one. Gibbsy and I, Cloudy, Gibbsy, Ferris, Toddy, that whole generation prior, Mossies, like it was raining on the sunny coast and we were in Coonabarabran. Do you know what I mean? Like we load up our van that night, jump in the car the next day, drive 10 hours away and ride for 3 days and come home. Did it many, many, many times. A lot of the guys in the programs, they never experienced that like grind to do it for yourself. And
I agree.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'm in it. I see the benefits in the program, but I also, it would be cool if you could apply both, because just showing up because you got to or showing up because you want to are two different things.
Yeah, like making the calls. Where are we riding? Chasing
and I can see the difference in some of the riders that I train and different people in whether they would have that.
Whether they would do that or not.
Want to, or show up because they have to. And there's a big difference, I think, in the end of it all, like their results, whether they make it professionally or they end up becoming a future champion. I think a lot of it is in that.
They would do it regardless. Yeah.
You know, and the tracks they get to ride compared to the tracks we were riding, you know, just show up at Roy's Road and ride dry dust
blown
every
out
day.
sand. Yeah.
Show up, ride a prepped, watered track. If the track's a little bit sketchy one day, they're not happy about it. You know? Whereas like we were riding on concrete roads.
Yeah.
Just to ride. So I think the resilience in the programs is lost a little bit.
I think that's just society and generations developing though, right? Like I look at how kids are now in general.
Yeah.
It's just different, eh?
Yeah. It's it is different. They have the work ethic, but do they have the discipline to do it on their own without someone telling them to do it? I think that's an interesting thing. Some guys, some like kids are just absolutely invested, like it's all that matters. Jet Allsop is probably a perfect example of pure investment and discipline. Naturally.
Oh, bro, like I'll be real with you. Like when he crashed at QMP, like we didn't know at the time how bad his back was, and he goes out and toughs out that first moto. And I try to leave him alone on race day. You know, I'm not really involved like that anymore. As far as advice, like I'm just running the socials and doing the media guy thing. And I'm just like dropped over there. I'm like, yo, like just let me know what's up if you're going out or not, because I need to know what to put out there. And they're like, what do you think we should do? And I was like, well, look behind and he's laying down and can't move. And I'm like, well, it kind of answers your question, doesn't it? Like he's obviously hurt and he just got second in the championship, locked up.
He still went raced.
And I'm like, why would you put yourself at risk? And I'm like, anyway, whatever, I got to go. I'll come back. And then I come back and he's jumping on the bike. And I'm like.
But it's a mentality.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He's like, he said to me, he's like, you know, I don't give a fuck. He's like, I'm going out there. And he went out and actually rode, like the first moto he got 10th or 11th or whatever because he's in pain. Then he's in more pain in the second moto, but he goes out and gets a third, I think. But you say that about him and he had that I don't care. You know? And
it's interesting too, like one of the biggest things I've had to learn through the training side of stuff is the different personalities and how to make to get the best out of each person is probably the thing. They're not all like I was. I would have just did whatever, just grinded till I was laying on the ground. You know? And then you've got guys that won't, but to get the best out of them, you've got to train them a certain way. So because at the end of the day, you're still trying to get the best out of each person, whether it's they win or they get second or they get third.
With their personal potential, right?
Their personal potential, and you've got to manage that differently, which has been one thing that I've really struggled with. I'm a lot better at it now, but at first I was just hard ass with it. Like, this is how we're doing it. If you don't want to do the work, like, catch ya. Now, like, a lot of it's to do with making sure they do the work, but keeping them happy, confident.
Well, you're also not going to perform if you're not happy. Like, you think about your career. Like, you were a workhorse, and the results drove you. But like I said to you, in the last couple of years, man, you weren't happy.
Oh, and I know that based on that experience.
Yeah.
A happy rider wins. And I've never seen an unhappy guy winning. Never.
It's true, man. It's true.
I have not. So managing that based on different personalities, some of them are workhorses. Some of them will just do what they have to. So managing their mentality so that you get the best result out of them and and that could be the difference between even like Gibbsy and Cloudy and Wilson, Todd, all guys that I train, Noah Ferguson, all manage differently to get the best result, and all 4 of those guys are capable of winning championships.
Well, you take those 4. What have we got for time, Adam? Yeah, wow. Okay, so much going, 90 minutes. 4 of those riders you just listed completely different personality types.
Yeah,
like intrinsically motivation, personality, but capable of winning.
Yeah.
But every one of them would have a different approach to getting the job done.
Yeah, yeah. And then as a trainer, you got to figure that out. It's not one shoe fits, you know?
Yeah, no, for real.
It's yell at one guy, tell the other guy he's doing awesome. You know, it comes down to that sort of stuff. So it's people management. And then on top of that, managing their personalities, just making sure they still just do the work. Yeah, man. Which has been tough for me to work out, because you put your own personality into that, and you kind of just want to be like, do the fucking job, or I'm gonna kick your ass. You know what I mean? But
you can't.
No, because
to everyone at least.
My job is to get the best out of them.
Yeah, man. No, it's great insight, man. Really glad we finally did this.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
No, it's good. Like I said, I love talking to you guys that are now removed from the career and the insight that you have, whether it's Dean, whether it's Gibbsy.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to go to the Goldie soon. I want to get Todd.
Sweet.
Like, it's such a cool, the transition of eras and where everybody's at in their lives. Yeah. You know, it's and you're very insightful, and it's cool, man.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries. And obviously, you know, hopefully we can do some more testing and stuff like that.
Got a drive home now too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's around the corner. So.
We're all living it up here.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.